Hello everyone. This is a funny angle, but let's see if I can do it. I wanted to share with you some of my bind-off journeys. So this is the Rituals sweater by Howie Lucatelli that I showed in my last episode that I'm busy with. And I decided that if I did the stripe section and then the ribbing, it will be too long in the front. So I'm doing the stripe section, I'm combining the ribbing and the stripe section. And I think it is working out quite well. I'm doing a split hem. So my back stitches are still on hold. And I'm using these little stoppers so that the stopper, the cord stopper, the tulip cord stopper is not in my way while I'm knitting. I'm using these little stoppers to hold the stitches away from the stopper. And I'm sure that these stoppers will be available to buy soon from a very popular online shop. I'm hoping for that. So I'm doing the bind off now, and every time that I'm doing a bind off for a wearable, it takes me a while to find the correct bind off that looks neat for me for that specific project. Excuse me, I can see now that all my psychedelic colors are showing here. I'm wearing my lady fingers and the shifty cowl. I just put this on to hang up the washing because it was very cold, and I haven't taken it off yet because it's so nice and warm and cozy. So I'm wearing all the colors. But I'm doing a 2x1 broken rib, and it seems to work well so that there's no broken rib column here, no mold rib column here. So I think it's working out quite well. And then I did 2 rows again of the blue, and then I tried to bind off on the right side, and not one of the bind offs worked for me, or they all looked, I don't know, it just didn't look right. So I decided to knit another row on the right side, knit 2, pull 1, just to keep it in the ribbing pattern. So I'm binding off on the wrong side now, and I think that is looking quite well. I'm using the Russian bind off. I will try and find the link because not all the Russian bind off videos I've seen looks they don't look the same to me. So I will find the one that I'm doing, and it's very stretchy, as you can see. It will definitely have the same amount of stretch as the ribbing, because when I block my sweaters, I try to block the ribbing a little bit out so that it doesn't pull in over my widest part. And I think this looks neat to me, and it's very stretchy. So I'm doing let me just find my needle. I will try and show it here to you. So this is the last stitch on this needle that I've binded off. So I put my left needle into the front, and then I bind off the next stitch through that stitch. So I knit it and I pull it through that stitch, and then I put my left hand needle back and I bind off through the back, the next stitch through the back, bind it off through that stitch and take it off. Put my left needle into the front, knit the next stitch through the back and pull it through. So you can see on the, I didn't want this, I show it closer. I didn't want that bind off chain look on the front. It didn't look well, it didn't look right to me. I'm very fussy when it comes to bind offs. So this is the like a pull side is showing on the right side, and I like that much more. So as I say, every sweater I do or cardigan, I do a bind off that fits in with the look of the sweater or the cardigan. So I quite like this look. So this is the Russian bind off, and the other one is that is almost the same, that is just as stretchy, is the Icelandic bind off. They've got there's a little bit of a difference between the two. So sometimes I use the Icelandic bind off and sometimes I prefer the Russian bind off. So the Russian bind off makes this, if you did bind off on the right side, you will have that look on the right side, and I didn't want that look on the right side. So I'm binding off on the wrong side now for this. So I think that is looking okay. So on the back, I will also do the 4-row stripe, and then I will do a little bit more of the blue before I bind off, so that my back ribbing is a little bit longer, because I always need about, how much is that? Quickly see. So I need about 5 centimeters more on my back ribbing, or on my back panel of my wearables, than on the front. And it's difficult with this because I can't add some short rows. So sometimes I add short rows before I do the ribbing, but it's difficult to add short rows here with this lace section and then the stripes. I don't know where you can add the short rows. So then you have a high-low hem, I think they call it. So yeah, I decided to just do a split hem. So here's the front. I'm doing the front now, and then my back stitches are on hold, and then I will just go to them and then do the same. And this little stoppers is keeping everything in place, and let's hope that a popular yarn and online shop will start to stock them soon. I hope so, because they are very handy. So this is now the way I'm doing it on the rituals. And then I wanted to quickly share with you what I did on my scrapper cardie, because I forgot to talk about that. I've showed you, and I talked a lot about my scrapper cardie in my last episode. So for the scrapper cardie, what I did is a crochet bind off, and I will try and add a link for that as well. It's also stretchy enough. This is my bottom ribbing, bottom edge, and it is stretchy enough and it looks neat. And for this fabric, I didn't mind that chain stitch on the front. If you do it, you can also turn around and do it on the wrong side. I didn't think I didn't think about that at the moment when I did it, but then you will have this look. But I think I like on the scrapper cardie, I like this look. I'll try and show it to you, because I did use that bind off everywhere. I also used it on the front bands, and it's got a very neat effect. I knitted, for example, I knitted these bands and the bottom ribbing with a 3.25, and the crochet hook I used, I've got a little jar of just these plain ordinary crochet hooks next to my knitting couch, and I use them to pick up stitches. I've got different sizes. I don't crochet with them anymore, but they are very handy for the knitting. And this is a 3.75. I use two sizes up, so these buttonless bands were knitted with a 3.25, and the crochet hook I used was a 3.75. And there's a nice tutorial by Very Pink Knits. I think it's about 11 years old, where she shows you how to do the crocheted bind off. And I use that quite often. I think what I liked about this, it gave a very stable edging for the buttonless bands in the front. It keeps it nice and stable. I didn't want it too stretchy so that it spreads out, but it doesn't pull in either with the two sizes that I went up. I just wanted to show you that because I forgot to mention that in my episode, my last episode 45. So yes, thank you. But please tell me which bind-offs you prefer. I know a lot of people prefer Jenny's stretchy bind-off. I don't like that at all. I've tried it numerous times, and I could never get it to just look neat and perfect. And one other tip as well that I forgot to mention is that Susan Bryan has got a great video, and Roxanne Richardson as well, on picking up stitches for button bands and things. Now, it's not difficult for a garter stitch cardigan because you just, as I said, I slipped the last stitch, so I just picked up in every slip stitch. But they both tell you to add one stitch on both sides of your button bands or buttonless bands to keep this from pulling in, so that you have a nice straight edge here. So you can also go and look that up. There's one by Susan Bryan, you can just look up button bands, and Roxanne Richardson has one as well. So I just wanted to share that with you as well. Then you don't have this dent here that it pulls in, especially on the top neck ribbing. You don't want you want that, try to get that, keep that straight. So yes, that's just what I wanted to share with you, those small little details. I also did the crochet bind off here, and it also it's stretchy enough, but still it gives some structure there that it doesn't stretch out too much. But for the rituals, I wanted, because I want this ribbing to, and I block it to stretch out a little bit, so I really want I don't need that structure here. So it's quite stretchy. It will stretch just as much as the ribbing, as I want the ribbing to stretch. And that is the Russian bind off on the wrong side. I will try and find a video and link it below. Thank you for watching my journeys and what I prefer to do. And yes, I hope that it will be helpful for you to, when you are knitting a garment, to decide what to do with your bind-offs and where to do it, on the right side or the wrong side, or tell me if you've got other tips, except the Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind-off, which I dislike a lot, and any of those stretchy bind-offs. So my preferred bind-offs is either the Russian bind-off, the Icelandic bind-off, the crocheted bind-off, or sometimes for a 2x2 rib, I just go up 2 needle sizes, and then I bind off in pattern. So that is my preferred, I think, 4 ways of binding off. Have a nice day and please tell me what you are working on.